this guy Aaron Ross wrote a book called Predictable Revenue that was like, it was almost more like a pamphlet. And like, if you had gotten your hands on it in 2011, then you had like the keys to the kingdom, right? And it really was, you know, Aaron came out of Salesforce, and it was born out of this idea that, hey, there is this really exciting, incredible, scalable new way to generate lead flow, which is that you basically, you know, you build and scale a team that's doing, you know, personalized, targeted, cold, outbound outreach to prospects. And there was, for real, a moment in time in, you know, kind of that 2011 to 2015 range where if you were doing that, it worked because it was so rare, because it was arbitrage, right? Like the first 10 or 20% of that market before the chasm got crossed, that figured out how to do that and do it well, and the SDRs that really nailed it, they generated a lot of pipeline because there was bandwidth available in people's inboxes, right, to receive that signal and actually interpret it and translate it into, hey, maybe I should have a conversation here. What happened then was the world noticed, and the other 80% picked it up, and a whole universe of software tooling got built around the automation and delivery of these things at scale. And it went from being kind of this shadowy secret formula that some folks had to like an extremely mainstream, like keeping up with the Joneses. Like if you're not running this strategy, you've done something wrong. And this is just like the definition of like a zero sum game in game theory, right? It's like when 10% of the world is doing it, then you have this arbitrage thing going on. When everybody's doing it, the amount of attention that I can spend on my inbox is finite, but the amount of things that can be in my inbox is infinite. So as that ratio of like signal to noise gets driven out of whack by everyone on the planet doing this cold SDR thing, the efficacy of those things gets dropped proportionally. And that's like, I'd toss that right on the pile with everything I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, right? Around like the efficacy of ads, the interference in the universe of privacy and, targeting. This cold outbound strategy has just fallen off a cliff from an efficacy standpoint. And it's hard to see a path to it recovering in any kind of meaningful way. And people are making up for it with higher volume. And that actually exacerbates the problem because it makes the noise part of that ratio even worse. So it's a challenging tactic that I think requires a lot more intelligence. And the winners end up being the ones who know how to specialize, personalize, and target. And to Kyle's point, right, go after the center of that bullseye rather than a spray and pray. It does get you back to a more deliberate strategy.